Peace, beautiful soul. It is me, Soli, the Mystic Spiritual Advisor. And here on my channel, every video I create is dedicated to the expansion of your awareness. So today we'll be discussing, Christ, particularly the return of Christ. But before I even jump into that, I would first like to, discuss what exactly Christ is. So, Christ isn't particularly precisely a person. Christ isn't particularly precisely, Jesus, Buddha, or all of those other archetypes of Christ. First and foremost, I want to start off by saying, those, I forget the name of it. I want to say halo, but I don't think it's a halo. But you know how they like have this like thing behind Jesus, like there's this light behind him in a sense. That is in a sense to a degree kind of representative of the sun, because all these entities, they are representations of the sun. And if you do your research, then you will see that the sun and its cycles, and the story of Jesus, in a sense they are synchronized. They are in a sense synchronized, if you get what I mean. So Christ isn't precisely an entity. It's more of a program. In a sense, it's more of like a consciousness, a state of consciousness you can tap into, you are allowed to tap into. The Christ energy is one of enlightenment. It is one of unconditional love. It's the realization of self, it's the realization of awareness, of self. As Jesus in its teachings, or however you want to perceive it, we talk about, I'm not that well versed upon Jesus' teachings, so I might murder this, but I'm pretty sure, we used to talk about the kingdom of God being within, and this is because the Christ consciousness is all about awakening to the internal world, to you, to yourself, in a sense, to a degree, and to start and see your connectivity with your surroundings, in a sense, your connectivity with God itself. So Christ, in a nutshell, in a sense, is like unconditional love, because the energy of love is an energy of unity, and this Christ consciousness entity or energy or program derives from the fifth dimension, in a sense. The concept of Christ is a fifth dimensional construct, and certain entities, they come down here from the fifth dimension with the intentions of bringing this Christ energy down here to earth, so then they can assist us. In a sense, it's kind of like when before you ascend, before you evolve into a next dimension, like for example, us third dimensional beings, like humans, it's a different story. We're gonna go from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, but that's because we descended from the fifth dimension all the way to the third dimension. But usually, it's like, and we in a sense have this immense ability to incorporate and attain that fourth dimensional energy while we're in a sense in this in this third dimensional state. But that's another subject, but whenever you go from one dimension to another, before you ascend, you have this choice in a sense to return to a lower dimension. Let's say, like, from before you ascend into the fifth dimension, so you're a fourth dimensional being, but you have gone through the stages to get to the fifth dimension, right? So now you have this choice. You can either return, if you desire, if it's your wish, return back to the third dimension, or the third dimension, because you're leaving the fourth dimension, right? You can either return back to the third dimension, or even like a beginning of the fourth dimension. Well, you're already in the fourth dimension, so that doesn't even make sense technically. But yes, you have this choice, to return to the third dimension. From before you go to the fifth dimension, you have this choice to return to the third dimension, or however low you want to go, in hopes of assistance, in hopes of rising the vibrations of people. In a sense, this is kind of like Yo, it's really interesting as well because if I'm not mistaken, Jesus is a Capricorn. One of my friends who were talking was telling me that Jesus' archetype, in a sense, he was a Capricorn or something like that. And yo, that's crazy because in esoteric astrology, where it's like the spiritual aspect of astrology, where it's about evolutionary astrology in a sense, our gifts and everything. The thing with Capricorn, the goat climbers, is at an esoteric perspective, they are the goat climbers who are attaining, seeking wisdom and knowledge, and they are taking that journey into the occult, the esotericism. I don't even know if that's a term. The occult, and as they ascend and as they climb the ladder, the mountain, and as they accumulate all this knowledge, there's going to be a point in their life where they're going to be on top of the mountain, and then they're going to want to come back. For the most part, they're going to want to come back down, right? They're going to want to come back down. So come back down to the mount, come back down to, the people that are still on the bottom, and they're going to, in a sense, want to help them ascend. They have gone to the top. They have accumulated all this knowledge, and now they are going to want to go down and help them. This is why, like, in a sense, a lot of Capricorns, they are highly intelligent. Pardon the wind, I apologize. I hope it's not that bad. I don't think it's that bad. Should get better. Okay. So as I was saying, yo, I'm not gonna front like that's not dope. I just stopped the wind. Okay. Now it's back. Okay, so as I was saying, a lot of Capricorns, right? A lot of Capricorns, they have this tendency. They have this. Fuck. Okay, so the wind is cool. Okay. So a lot of Capricorns, they have this tendency of, in a sense, being introverted in regards to their studies. They have this tendency to be the ones maybe behind the scenes, accumulating all of this knowledge, all of this wisdom, and in a sense, feeling like having a need to obtain this certain status in order for them to present that wisdom, if you get what I mean, present that knowledge. So just like Jesus, it's the energy, it's not precisely if he was real or not, like that doesn't matter at this moment. But yeah, even him, he went through this process of accumulating knowledge, and then one day he attained the status, and then he, in a sense, started teaching it. And this is, and to a degree, kind of how Capricorns are, But yes. So this Jesus entity, this Christ consciousness entity, it comes down from the fourth, almost fifth dimension. So it's about to graduate into the fifth dimension, but it's like, nah, I want to go back to the third dimension and show them a better way. I want to show them that there's a better way, the way of love, the way of unconditional love, the way of acceptance, the way of accepting your neighbors and things of that nature. So this is what he did. He went down, and he, in a sense, instructed and assisted them, and yes, the Christ consciousness has returned. And in a sense, it's like, I want to say, like, the Christ consciousness and the grace energy, they're kind of intertwined, because the grace energy is an energy that derives straight from angels, from the source. And it's like, Mother Gaia, the earth, she called out to the angels, and the angels, I made videos about the angels, so you can check that out on my channel, right? But ultimately, I talk about how the angels, they are, in a sense, the nervous system of God. Of course, I elaborate, but because it was like, I was pondering upon it, and I realized, like, holy shit, they do the will of God. They're, in a sense, electrical beings who send, information, light to these entities, and some angels are the hands of God, some angels are the feet of God. I mean, God, the source, is the head, of course, but, these angels, they are the body parts of God. So I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. But yes, they heard Mother Gaia, or the Earth's cry, and they sent her this grace energy, and this grace energy came into this earth in the 2000s, and it's been accumulating, building up and building up and building up, and 2020 it's gonna be like and it's also like this grace energy, it's like it's gonna help the ones who take it and choose to work on their life. But it's also it's like I don't want to say first come first serve, because then that makes it seem like it's scarce. But the reality of it, it's like if you choose to work with this grace energy, it's gonna assist you. But regardless, it's still gonna be in the working. So if you're not working with it, it's gonna assist you, but it's gonna make you go through a lot of trials and tribulations. That Saturn energy, it's gonna make you go through a lot of trials and tribulations, because diamonds are formed under pressure, right? And it's gonna, in a sense, try to help you out by putting these karmic situations in front of you, so then you pay your dues, your due diligence, and then you, in a sense, ascend. So in a nutshell, yes, the Christ consciousness is here. The Christ consciousness is an energy of self, in a sense. It's an energy of like service to others as well, but the thing about service to others is service to others and service to self must, in a sense, to a degree, be intertwined. But it's like we need to understand the distortion of the ego. We need to understand the distortion of the ego. Once you understand the distortion of the ego, then you start practicing service to self, but from a soul perspective. You start attaining the other aspects of your souls. You start in a sense enriching yourself and your soul. So yes, service to self, but the Christ consciousness is mostly service to others. This is why a lot of us are stepping into this energy of making videos, spreading our knowledge, healing, giving advice, and all of these things, because we are tapping into that Christ consciousness energy. So yes, of course, I already said this, but in a nutshell, the Christ consciousness is here, and it's like the Christ, Christos, I don't know. But the Christ energy in of itself also, in a sense, ties and is connected to the sun, the sun, the soul. Soleil, I think it is. My name is Soleil. Soleil. But yes, so with that being said, the Christ consciousness energy is about enlightenment. So is the sun. It's about enlightenment. In a sense, it's about spirituality as well. It's about spirituality as well, as I said. What else is it about in relations to the sun? I also want to say it's, in a sense, a transformative energy as well. The Christ energy. It's transformative energy as well. So yeah, I think that might be it. But if I'm just trying. Hold on. Yeah, you guys, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. Did I miss anything? Do you have something to add about the Christ consciousness? And was Jesus real? That's a big controversial subject. Was Jesus real? Is Jesus a real entity? Or is it just an archetype? Because yeah, I'll leave it at that. I want to keep this short. But yes, you guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely do leave that comment below telling me what you think, Jesus, yada yada yada. Do like and share, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload. And thank you. Namaste, peace, and as I always say, you have a blessed day.